back to another episode of Stitchin' Saturday. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a Tunisian crochet pumpkin with chunky yarn. So it's going to be a chunky Tunisian pumpkin. And today I'm using my Denise interchangeable size M 13 9mm hook with a 8-inch cord and stopper. And you're going to need a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, some polyfill stuffing, and a cinnamon stick or twig. You'll also need 6 locking stitch markers so we can mark each side of the pumpkin before we wrap yarn around it. So let's get started. And I'm using Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick in oatmeal, so you guys can see the stitches. So first we're going to do is chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So today I'm using a combination of the Tunisian simple stitch and the Tunisian lattice stitch, which I have tutorials for each of them that I will link below, and if you click the eye you'll be able to get to them. But basically I'm going to chain 11 and then work your foundation row. I have a tutorial for this as well if you're just getting started with Tunisian crochet. Alright, so chain 11, work your return pass as you normally would. So I'm going to do 4 rows of Tunisian simple stitch, and then actually I'll do 2 rows of Tunisian simple stitch and then 4 rows of the lattice, because that's a 4-row repeat. I mean, you'll be able to see it better if I do 4 rows of it. So to the foundation row, then I'm gonna do 2 rows of this simple stitch. So I did the 1 row, and then 2 rows. So what you want is you want to have 6 bands of the Tunisian simple stitch, and I'll explain to you why later, but make sure you just have 6 of those. So you want to repeat the pattern 6 times. So 2 rows of Tunisian simple stitch, and then 4 rows of the lattice stitch, which is basically you're just gonna go into both, pull up a loop, and then continue that across. And I have a tutorial, like I said, for this as well, so you can go check that out. And the last stitch you're gonna work as normal. And then Tunisian simple stitch into the first one. Then do this. this, this, and this. Oops. Right, so I'm going to do 2 more rows like that with the lattice stitch, so I can show you what the repeat should look like, the pattern repeat. Oops. Alright, so I'm going to do 1 more over the lattice. So the return pass, I'm going to do the second row of the lattice stitch, which is turn simple stitch on the first one, and then do 2 together across. Oops. Okay, looks like I missed a stitch here, so I'm just gonna pull that up, and there we go. So that is what the repeat should look like. So you have 4 rows of the lattice, 2 rows of the Tunisian simple stitch. So I'm going to meet you back once you have 6 of the bands of the Tunisian simple stitch. Alright? Alright, so I've completed a total of 6. So I have 6 bands of the simple stitch. So let me just show you what I mean. So this is simple stitch, and then we have the lattice stitch. Simple stitch, lattice stitch, simple stitch, lattice stitch. So you should have a total of the 6 of these bands. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to bind off, and then I'll take you through how to assemble the pumpkin. So at this point we just have like a long, alright, so I'm going to bind off, and I'm going to take you through how to assemble the pumpkin, which is a little bit different, but alright. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a long tail here. So we're probably going to take about like 30 inches, maybe 24 to 30 inches. And just cut. And I'm going to take your yarn needle, and oops. Then what you're going to do is just turn this, just fold it in half, okay, and then I am going to whip stitch along the edge, which means basically I'm going to go through the 2 V's, go through the 2 V's and just whip stitch along the edge. Alright, so let's go through and do that. So, alright, I'm doing that. And then there we go. Whip stitch along the edge like that. So it's all closed up now. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna close the top, and the way we're gonna do this is you're gonna go through one of the V's like this, and then you're gonna go through in this way from the back to the front, and then front to the back, back to the front, front to the back, back to the front, front to the back. You're gonna keep weaving in this way all the way around. Okay, and if you want, you can just pull the yarn through, and this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. And what this does is it'll help you close it up like so. So I'm gonna go in like that. And we're back at the start here, almost. So I'm just gonna go through and then just go through the next. And then look, you'll have something like this. And all you're gonna do is pull it tight to close it. See? And there you have closed that. Okay. And now what we're gonna do is flip it over. So you can see you have a little bit of a pumpkin shape forming already. Now we're going to stuff it lightly with polyfill. Okay. And I'm going to fill the rest later, but for now we're going to do that. And then we're going to close it up at the top like we did at the bottom. Exactly the same way. Oops. Alright, so to make things easy, I'm going to use some locking stitch markers and just stick them wherever I see the horizontal Tunisian simple stitch, so you know where to wrap your yarn around to create the pumpkin shape. This before I close it up, so it's one. And then there's the lattice stitch here again. Then this is our second band of simple stitch. And then there's a lattice, and then here's another one of the simple stitch. And then there's lattice. And then again we have simple stitch here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There should be 2 more sections. So there's 5. Oh, we skipped one in the middle here. So here's how you're gonna wrap the yarn around. First, let's close this tight. Let's close it up a little bit, so you can see kind of the shape forming. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go wherever the stitch markers are and just wrap around, going to the opposite stitch marker. And then you're going to go through the center with your yarn needle. And then come back out from the other side. Oops. and then again wrap around this and this, so opposite sides, right? And then you're going to go in from the bottom and bring it to the top. And then you're going to wrap again, opposite sides, and go into the center. And there you can see the shape is forming. Then we have one more that we have to wrap around. Oh, I think we've done, so we did it 3 times, and there's your pumpkin shape, like so. And you just want to pull tight so that it's secure. And you're gonna, the last thing we're gonna do is remove our stitch markers. And stick our cinnamon stick in, or a twig if you have a twig, and then just weave in all your loose ends. And that's it. This is what it looks like in the velvet. Alright, I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. And please do like, comment, follow, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.